Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Barbara at Queens Avenue, Taro, and today we're going to do probably chapters 8, 9, and 10 because they're pretty short of Rage by Bob Woodward. And this is a review, not a reading. So when we left off, we were talking about Andy McCabe and Jim Comey, and both thought but did not tell Rose and wait a minute. Both thought but didn't tell Rosenstein of their deep suspicions about how corrupt and dishonest, and their fears that he was obstructing justice. They didn't tell Rosenstein that. Okay, so chapter 8. So 2 days after Comey was fired, Rosenstein saw in the paper that Trump had demanded loyalty from him because Trump had asked for a personal pledge of loyalty, and as we all know, Comey said he could be loyally honest or something like that. Honest loyalty is what Comey said. But at this point, Comey was gone, and Rosenstein could see that Jim Comey was going to get his story out. So anyway, Andy McCabe knew about it. He'd known about the conversation, and he had seen Jim Comey's report. So he knew what was going on. Honey, what are you doing here? Huh? Murphy, interrupt us. I got Murphy some balls yesterday. They are the felt balls, and I'll tell you what, I got her 3 of them, and they weren't cheap either. They've already disappeared. They are under the couch or under the refrigerator. She's got a big knot right here. I gave her a haircut the other day because she was all matted up because she bites me. So I have to actually put a muzzle on her to be able to groom her because she will tear me to pieces. But she's a pretty girl. Look at her big paws. Oops, see, she's going to try to bite me. Now, when I put her down, she'll roll onto her head and does what Joey calls the armadillo. And I mean, she does. She totally rolls up in a ball, and then she'll come after me. Murphy, what's he doing? She better not ever bite me in the face, boy. Hi, Murph. She's going to be 3 pretty soon, in about a week. Now I'll probably have cat hair all over me. I don't want you to come back up here. I think she hates me, but she does like it when I play with her, which I do every day. Because cats need to play. She had a moth a while ago that she found. I was going to record it, but she was running. She was all over the place. I couldn't keep up with her. So anyway, let's see here. Okay, back to Comey and Trump and McCabe and Rosenstein. McCabe and Comey. Okay, so the Justice Department is over the FBI. And Rosenstein didn't know anything about what was going on. He said he felt like he was on an island alone. And then McCabe wanted Rosenstein to protect the FBI process. Okay, so also, Trump didn't want it to make it look like he fired Comey, so he told Rosenstein to issue a memo or some kind of news thing or whatever. And so then, and he did, and so then Trump made it sound like Rosenstein had fired Comey. And he was shocked that the White House was trying to make him appear like he did it. He wrote the memo at Trump's instruction. I mean, the day before was the Lester Holt interview where Trump said he was going to fire Comey no matter what. But Rosenstein, without Sessions, without Andy McCabe telling him what was going on, without Comey telling him what was going on, Rosenstein felt like he was twisting in the wind. So, and he was working like 16, 18 hours a day. So then he decided he was going to appoint a special counsel. And he said there was only one guy. I mean, he went over the plus and minuses. There was only one guy that he wanted, and that was Robert Mueller. And back in the day, back in the day of the Clinton administration, Ken Starr was investigating Whitewater, and back in those days, they didn't have to report. A special counsel didn't have to report to the Justice Department, so the Justice Department couldn't put parameters on what the special counsel was investigating, which is how it went from Whitewater to Monica Lewinsky. Okay, because Ken Starr was able to tear Clinton's world apart. I mean, I really don't care who the president sleeps with, as long as it doesn't affect me, you know. I mean, I really don't. Whatever. I don't care. It's none of my business. That's between him and his wife and his girlfriend and his family, whatever. I don't care. Anyway, so back then, in those days, they didn't have to report to the Justice Department, and they weren't monitored, but that had changed. At this point in our history, current special counsel is another employee of the Justice Department, meaning that special counsel has to report to DOJ. So, and Sessions was recused, so this would mean that Mueller would be under Rosenstein's supervision. And Rosenstein liked that because it would give him more control when, up until this point, he had been in the dark. Mueller would report to him, and he would monitor everything that was going on. So, at the time of the Whitewater investigation, Rosenstein worked for Ken Starr. He was a young attorney working for Ken Starr, and he said he was appalled by how Ken Starr expanded his mandate beyond the original authority of just investigating Whitewater, and it was a blow up, you know, totally open-ended investigation. And that's how Clinton's affair with Monica Lewinsky was discovered. So, okay, so then we're on May 16th, and I think that we are still in 2017 already, so, or back then, you know. And so now, here she comes again. Now McCabe is finding out that, no, Rosenstein, no, don't chew on my iPad. Now McCabe is telling Rosenstein that that Comey had memos, and that he actually linked them to the New York Times because he had somebody there that he trusted. And there were also another copy of his notes under lock and key, so probably someone else's safe deposit box. And, you know, the notes recounted that Trump had said, "I hope you can see steer letting Flynn go. See clear to, I hope you can steer clear," or something like that, of letting Flynn go. Murphy! This cat, I mean, I'm telling you what, she thinks she's a Labrador Retriever. She chews on everything. Oh! You need to go away. Excuse me. Come on. Don't bite me. Ow! Ow, ow, ow. Get away. Man, she's like a rattlesnake. I mean, you can just be sitting there and all of a sudden, she gets you. She did the armadillo. And you know, have you ever been, were you one of those little kids that was afraid to get in bed at night because you thought something was under your bed, and so you were afraid to get out of bed? There is something underneath my bed, and it does attack me. I come in bed to get in bed, and I put one foot up because my bed's really high. I get one foot up on the bed, and then by the time I raise my other one up, she's got her arms around me like this in a death grip, trying to kill me. She wants to eat me. Oh my God! And she does it to Ruby too. But the good thing about this just happening is that you guys saw it. She's nuts, really. Cuckoo. Okay, so here she's coming back. Oh my God! Don't bite me! Don't bite me! I'm sorry, you guys. So anyway, Rosenstein thought that the FBI thought that Russian sympathizers had taken over the government. And the FBI didn't trust the Judgment Department or Rosenstein. And he didn't understand why the New York Times had those documents. And he thought he should have had them because Comey, as the head of the FBI, worked for Rosenstein, who was the head of the Justice Department, minus Sessions, who couldn't have anything to do with this. So Rosenstein was outraged. He felt like he had been sandbagged. And so also McCabe was discussing with other people whether or not the president was under investigation, but Rosenstein wasn't included in that in these discussions. So McCabe on his own had made Trump a subject. A subject is someone who is within the scope, but he's not a target, and but he's also not simply a witness. So Rosenstein he felt like he was caught between Trump and the FBI, and he was suspicious of both of them. And he wanted to make sure that this investigation was not an out-of-control fishing expedition like Ken Starr had done. Because when he worked for Starr, he was appalled by what Starr did, as was I. I mean, you know what? At that point in my life, I couldn't stand Clinton. I have changed my mind about that. I really don't think it was any of my business. The thing that pissed me off so much is that because of this affair, I mean, you want to investigate Whitewater, that's one thing. But this affair is a personal matter. It has nothing to do with Whitewater. Problem is that Clinton lied on the stand, or to the Congress or whatever. He lied. That's why he was disbarred. But anyway, I don't feel that way about Clinton anymore. I mean, I do, but I don't condone him cheating on his wife. But, otherwise I thought he was a pretty good guy. From what I know. Okay. Oh, you guys, look at my shirt. How about that? I got this when Trump would refuse to have a speech in front of the USS John McCain. And you know what? John McCain was the guy that went over to London to meet with Christopher Steele, and he was the one that brought the dossier back here. John McCain was the guy that gave the thumbs down to McConnell. John McCain was an honorable man. I may not have agreed with everything he said or did, but I'll tell you what, he was an honorable, just, he was a good guy. So, yeah, so I wear a shirt. I just wore it for you guys. I haven't ever worn it before, actually. Okay, so anyway, getting off the subject. So Trump was not a target. And he didn't like that it could go into an out-of-control fishing expedition. He thought that everything was too partisan in Washington, and that the Fox News network was malicious. He thought too many right-wing people were nuts, and they had too much influence. And he wanted to find a middle of the road. So that's why he wanted to appoint a special counsel, because he wanted one that was extremely fair. And that would also give Rosenstein the control over the investigation. So he had known Robert Mueller for years and years and years, and he actually worked as an intern in Mueller's office back in 1989. And Mueller was way above board. He had a 12-year tenure as FBI director. So he finally decided to ask Robert Mueller if he would leave his law firm and come and do this. And Mueller said no. So he said, if I decided I needed you, would you do it? And Mueller said no. And so a couple of weeks went by, or a week went by, or whatever, and Mueller had changed his mind and said he would do it. And okay, so Rosenstein was monitoring all of this work. They had biweekly meetings. Rosenstein wanted to know if there was any kind of coordination or conspiracy with Russia. That was their core mission. So the deal was Russian interference with the 2016 presidential election and to prosecute federal crimes arising from the investigation. So that's Manafort and Gates and all those guys that Flynn. But he wanted to get McCabe out of the dealio. So he wanted. I don't know why he wouldn't have thought McCabe was untrustworthy, but I think it was because McCabe hadn't been forthcoming with him about the investigation at this point. So he spoke with McGahn. Rosenstein spoke with McGahn and McCain in a meeting and said, "This is going to be between me and Mueller, and Andy is out." And so he thought a special counsel would be the best for everyone and the most fair way to do it. So this is when Trump said, "This is the end of my presidency. I'm fucked." Because Trump knows. God. Okay, and then that night, Trump released a statement. There was no collusion between my campaign and any foreign country or entity. Trump wanted to know why there had never been any special counsel for all the illegal acts of Hillary Clinton's. Well, you know what? And the Obama administration. Well, what did they do? I think they were pretty above board. Here's where he calls it the single greatest witch hunt of our history. May 18th to that point was the worst day so far in the Oval. He was uncontrollable. He oscillated and stormed between the Oval Office and the private dining room. He's a big guy. Woodward says he's 6'3" and 240 pounds. Okay. No, he's not. He's 6'3" and 300 pounds, 290 pounds. Or, he's the size of a linebacker. And he doesn't know why Mueller has been hired. He said he didn't hire him for the FBI. Everybody's trying to get me. He didn't know what power the special counsel had. And he said, they're going to spend all this time digging through my whole life, my finances, everything. And they're out to get me. And he blamed everything on Jeff Sessions. 20 minutes. He said Rosenstein doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He's a Democrat. Well, Rosenstein is a lifelong Republican from Maryland. So I think Maryland is a Democratic or blue state, but he's a Republican. So he said Rosenstein was one of the people who said to fire Comey and wrote the letter. And now how could he be supervising this investigation? So he apparently kept moving between the Oval Office and the dining room and continuously in a frenzy. I am the president. I can fire anybody I want. He was frightening. He said Comey deserved to be fired. Everybody hated him. No, they didn't. They cried. They were devastated. It was a huge loss at the FBI. Okay, so yeah, this is now the next Sunday. He called Mueller and McCabe in. He said, I do not want McCabe participating in this investigation. And McCabe's like, fine. There must be a groundhog out there. Or a bunny rabbit. So, yeah. Okay, so the guy who's now the governor of Florida said it's not the Mueller investigation, it's the Rosenstein investigation. Okay, so that was chapter 8. I'm at 22 minutes. I'm going to stop here and we'll go on 9. 9 is like 2 pages, so we'll not do 9, 10, and I guess 11's longer. We'll see how far we get. Maybe 9, 10, and 11. Okay, thanks, bye. Unless we get interrupted by that really bad cat again. So, okay, see you in a bit. Bye.